Okay. And then while we are within, I would like to proceed to present to us the first speaker.
Dr. Shobon, you are muted, Ma. You are muted.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? I got interrupted my connection. So,
okay,
yes.
Welcome, Ma.
Good morning, everyone, once again. It's my pleasure to be here. Sorry, do I have the floor?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for that little error. I wasn't hearing that I was being called earlier. You are all welcome to this webinar today. It's one of our webinars in the series. But first, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar of the Nigerian Young Academy. As you might already know, the Nigerian Young Academy is a platform for interaction of brilliant scholarly young researchers in Nigeria across all the zones in Nigeria. And it's for people who are below the ages of 45 years for females and below the age of 40 years for men. And our major interest is that we recognize excellence, and we hope that our research findings, and we make efforts to ensure that our research findings contribute to societal development, and that our research findings also inform policy and help in industrial development as well. And it's in that wise, or in that vein, that we secured these COVID-19 rapid response grants, of which this webinar is a part of. This grant is actually titled Multifaceted Response Development from Research on COVID-19 in Africa. And we have several work plans that we have put forward to achieve this. Our aim at the end of the day is that we want to sustainably bridge the gap between the science and policy with respect to COVID-19 pandemic response, and particularly to begin to consider preparedness for potential future pandemics or epidemics in Nigeria, across Africa, and indeed globally. And so it's in that note that we have very, very expert persons who have been selected in Nigeria and from Nigeria to talk about two key topics today. It's my honor, ladies and gentlemen, to make welcome Mrs. Eunice Damisa. She is the Director of Advocacy and Communication, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency in Nigeria. As we know, this agency actually has a very important role in combating COVID-19 pandemic, and you would agree with me that they've been doing quite a lot since this pandemic started. And she'll be talking about the effective communication and acceptance of the COVID-19 vaccines. She will share with us lessons learned from the ongoing vaccination in Nigeria. You're highly welcome, Ma. And then our second speaker today is Dr. Elijah Oladipo. He is the acting HOD of Microbiology Department at Adeleke University in Nigeria. And he'll be sharing on the effectiveness and merits of some COVID-19 vaccines. And he'll be telling us time for local vaccine dependency. I want to urge us all, both NYA members, fellows, and potential members in waiting, and young people, everyone from industry, policy who are joining us today, and indeed from Nigeria and across the world, to please listen and contribute to these discussions. Because one of our takeaways from these webinars is that we're interested in not just taking the message from the experts, but also views from the public, which will be put together in policy briefs and infographics that will be circulated on our platforms and globally. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you once again on behalf of the President, Dr. Ibrahim, who is unavoidably absent today. My name is Temitope Shogbamu, Vice President, Nigeria Young Academy. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. Thank you, Ma. Now, the next thing now is that we shall proceed to introduce to you the first speaker. Can you all see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Permit me to introduce to you Mrs. Inez Omiogbera Damisa. She hails from Akoko, Edo local government in Edo State. She had her MPH from Liverpool, MPA, PGD in mass communication, diploma in management from UNILAG, that's the University of Lagos, Nigeria. She had a BA English and Literature from the University of Benin. Presently, she's the Director of Advocacy and Communication. And she's also the Chair, Risk Communication and Demand Generation Subcommittee of the National Technical Working Group of COVID-19 Vaccine Introduction in Nigeria. Mrs. Damisa, she's the Deputy Incident Manager, NEOC, from June 2016 to September 2021. Mrs. Damisa, she's the Deputy Team Leader, NPHCDA COVID-19 Command Center. And it's my privilege to introduce to you that she's also the head of Secretariat, Expert Review Committee for Polio Eradication and Routine Immunization in Nigeria since 2013. Before joining the public service, Mrs. Damisa practiced journalism in Punch and Concord newspaper. She rose to the post of Assistant News Editor in Concord newspaper. She started public service career in 2001 as Chief Social Mobilization Officer in the Defunct National Program on Immunization, that's NPI. In 2021, she was appointed as a communication analyst for the newly established National Polio Emergency Operations Center, NEOC. And in the year 2016, Mrs. Damisa, she was appointed as the Deputy Incident Manager of NEOC, which is the position she held since September 2021. She has received so many awards and recognition. Among them is the Rotary International Paul Harris Fellow Award. In year 2019, Mrs. Damisa also received Professor Umaru Shehu Award by NPHCDA. In 2019, she received Commendation Award. In 2020, she received Recognition of Excellence Award by NPHCDA, Mass Media Meritorious Award by Nigerian Navy Western Command. And last but not the least, she received Performance Award by Defense Writers Association. Permit me to introduce to you that Mrs. Damisa is in our midst to speak with us on the subject in her care, and I would like to invite her to step forward to share her screen with us. Thank you very much, ma. Thanks for being in our midst, ma.
Just give me a few minutes to share my screen.
Okay, ma.
Put in the slide.
Okay.
Sorry, give me some 5 minutes.
We are waiting for you to share your screen, ma.
Just give me some 5 minutes.
While we are waiting for Mrs. Damisa to share her screen.
Come on, fill the gap because the system is frozen there. I'm sorry.
Okay, ma. Okay, ma. While we are waiting for Mrs. Damisa to share our screen. It occurs to me now that we've received some members have joined. Thank you very much for coming. Dr. Abiodun, Dr. Kun, we can see you. Thanks for coming.
Dr. Isaac,
Yes, sir.
can you also maybe enjoin our members to add their NYA in front of their names, please? And
Okay.
for other participants to indicate that their affiliation where they're participating from, please, in the chat.
Thank you, sir. Noted. While we are waiting for Mrs. Damisa to share a screen, please, I would like to inform all the members of Nigerian Young Academy to put MNYA in front of their names. Please try to do this. Please just put MNYA in front of your name so that we can identify you. Likewise, those that are not members, please try to put the name of your university, your affiliation in front of your name. This will help us to identify you better. Please kindly do that. Thank you very much. Okay. Maybe we can invite Dr. Elijah to continue while we are waiting for. Can we invite? Dr. Mutala?
Yeah, it's Dr. Ladipo. Yeah,
Dr. Ladipo, are you ready? Dr. Ladipo?
I'm ready.
Okay, you are ready. Okay. Yeah. Dr. Mutala, please, can I invite him to start over?
Introduce him, please.
Thank you very much. Okay, now that we are still waiting for Mrs. Damisa, I consider this to be a privilege to introduce to you our second speaker. Now, I consider this to be a privilege to introduce to you Dr. Ladipo, who is also a speaker. Dr. Ladipo received his undergraduate BTech degree in microbiology, MSc in medical microbiology and parasitology, that is a virology option, and PhD in microbiology, medical virology and immunology option at the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso, Nigeria, where he specialized on infectious diseases caused by viruses and antimicrobiology resistance. Presently, he holds a faculty position at the Department of Microbiology at Adeleke University, Ede, Osun State, Nigeria. Dr. Ladipo Elijah Kolawole is an international fellow of the Indian Council of Medical Research and African Union, STRC. Dr. Ladipo has published 70 research papers in double-blind peer-reviewed national and international journals, authored 2 books and 42 conference proceedings at both national and international conference, symposium, and workshop. He has attended 18 international conferences, 20 national conferences, symposiums, and workshops. His major research focus is on infectious diseases caused by RNA viruses, molecular epidemiology and surveillance diagnosis, pathogenesis, molecular immunology, viral immunology and oncology, viral computational biology, antiviral resistance, and antibiotic resistance. Dr. Ladipo received a research grant from SCZ through IRR during his PhD studies. He has won various awards and grants to attend international conferences from bodies such as African Union, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations, International Society for Influenza and Respiratory Viruses, TWA-SAREP, UNESCO, Wellcome, Institute of Endemic Diseases Sudan, African Academy of Science, PATS, Union of Immunology Society, IUIS, and Federation of African Immunology Society, that is FAIS, and Kenya Society for Immunology, KISA, African Partnership for Chronic Disease Research, APCDR, by International Center for Genetics Engineering and Microbiotechnology, ICGEB, National Institute of General Medical Sciences, USA, and National Institute of Health, that's NIH, and A3A BioNet, Nigerian Informatics and Genomics Network, Center for Genomic Research and Innovation, MacArthur Foundation, EDCTIP, Ukraine, and from the British People Medical Research Council, University of Glasgow, and KEMRI, Wellcome Trust, Wellcome Center for Molecular Parasitology, IDIL, and Piwani University. Dr. Ladipo has supervised many undergraduate students and countable postgraduate students. Dr. Ladipo belongs to many scientific and professional bodies, such as the American Society for Microbiology, International Society for Infectious Disease, and Society for Applied Microbiology, African Society for Laboratory Medicine, International Society for Computational Biology, and African Society for Bioinformatics and Computational Biology, New England Bioinformatics Group, International Veterinary Vaccinology Network, and World Society for Virology, International Society for Influenza and Other Respiratory Virus Diseases, and Nigerian Informatics and Geometics Network. He is also a member of the Surveillance and Epidemiology of Drug Resistance Infection Consortium, that is SDEDRIC. He is the Southwest Regional Coordinator for the Nigerian Informatics and Genomics Network, and a key member of the African Vaccine Manufacturing Initiative, a continental initiative to advocate for strengthening Africa's capacity to develop and manufacture vaccine. Dr. Ladipo is the class coordinator of the H3A BioNet Introduction to Bioinformatics Training 2019 at the Adeleke University. He is the founder of a fast-growing genomic hub called Ellis Biogene Institute, also known as Ellis Biogene Consort. Dr. Ladipo is the team leader for the COVID-19 candidate vaccine that is currently on the WHO draft landscape for all COVID-19 vaccine candidates. I'm happy to inform you that Dr. Ladipo is happily married to a pretty wife and blessed with a wonderful child. It's my privilege to invite to you Dr. Ladipo to our midst. Thank you very much. You can share your screen, sir.
Cannot start the screen well. Perfect.
Yes, you can share your screen.
Perfect. Yep. I think perfect.
Yes, we can see your screen. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
So you have 20 minutes, sir.
Yeah. I want to thank the leadership of Nigerian Yoruba Academy for giving me this privilege to have a short talk this afternoon. And this is one of the key things that is happening worldwide, globally this period. I'm so grateful, and I pray that God will continually to be progressing the academy by God's grace. I'll be talking this afternoon on effectiveness and merits of COVID-19 vaccine and time for local vaccine independency. Yes, I don't want to go to the biology because all of us, we know what vaccine is actually is and what is capable of doing. Now, but the key word that I'm trying to dissect this afternoon is about the vaccine effectiveness. And there are processes involved in development of vaccine. After preclinical trial, we move on to clinical trial. And that is where we have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. There are data sets that is being generated to know how effective the vaccine is after safety has been established. Now, vaccine effectiveness is actually a measure of how well vaccines work in the real world. And that is the reason why I explained about the 3 phases earlier, because it is a group of people that the test is being conducted among them. Now, and clinical trial include a wide range of people, a broad age range, both sexes, different ethnicities, and those with known medical condition. But they cannot be a perfect representation of the whole population. So all the group subsets that have been used for the clinical trial, either phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3, cannot be a perfect representation of the whole population. Though, importantly, WHO recommended that COVID-19 vaccine evaluations, effectiveness evaluation, be conducted by, do not recommend that it should be conducted by all countries introducing COVID-19 vaccine, because it could have been likely be conducted by a number of countries worldwide for a variety of vaccine, and the results can be expected to be applicable to other countries in the same region with similar populations, COVID-19, epidemiology, and immunization system. Now, the decision to carry out vaccine effectiveness evaluation is not actually needed for country or region to estimate the guided policy of vaccine. And the vaccine evaluation will minimize biases, optimize likelihood of accurate results. Now, when vaccine is being developed, there are expectations. But one of the expectations of the appropriate body for COVID-19 vaccine is that a wide use COVID-19 vaccine must have at least 50% effectiveness. When it has at least 50% effectiveness, that would enable us to make a good control of the pandemic. And that is why we could say that each vaccines have different effectiveness rates. And as long as the effectiveness is not lesser than 50%, they are good to go. So there's nothing to worry about. But because of effectiveness to be retained, to be sustained, there was an introduction of booster. That is why we have a booster dose. And booster dose are being in existence even before COVID-19. That's why we can have first shot, second shot, and virtually it was recommended for third shot. Now, the question is, what is going on now in our country, in my locality? Nobody knows. I'm still coming back to that point. Now, we have some vaccines that I did selected based on popularity in order to localize what is happening in our environment. People are taking shots made by Pfizer, and it has an efficacy of 95% against asymptomatic SARS-CoV-2 infection. And what is its merit? One of its merits is that the vaccine can be found to be safe and effective in people with various conditions that are associated with increased risk of severe disease. So that's one merit. It's 95% efficacious against symptomatic, and it's safe for all various conditions. And one thing about it, when we talk about our country, that nature of our country in terms of storage, electricity, and developing country, transporting the vaccine to the village, we discovered that it can be stored in the refrigerator at 2 degrees Celsius to 8 degrees Celsius. It means it's something that can be adapted to our environment, and it can only be used and can store up for only 1 month. After 1 month, it may not be useful again. And when it's previously thawed, undiluted, the vial could be stored just for 5 days. Yeah, we have another one that is simple that we talk about, that is Moderna, and it has an efficacy of approximately 94 point something thereabout, and it's protecting against COVID-19 starting from 14 days after 4 doses. The effectiveness starts from 14 days after the 4 doses. It means it has allowed the body to produce the necessary neutralizing antibodies that can neutralize the effect. And what is the merit of Moderna? A number of studies have shown that Moderna can provide a better protection, especially for older adults and people who have a weak immune system For example, people that are being immunocompromised, for people that have been HIV infected, or people living with HIV, or somebody that is on chemotherapy. So once they have a weak immune system, at least Moderna is one of the good candidates for them. Now, I have AstraZeneca. It's the vaccine efficacy against symptomatic infection is 76%. It's specific to effect from 15 days past second dose, which is an internal dose of 29 days. So AstraZeneca is safe, effective at protecting people from extreme serious risk of COVID-19, including death, hospitalization, and severe disease. And what are the merits? Is ability to be transported closer to room temperature from 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. And it's easier, more efficient production, and being sold at cost throughout the duration of the pandemic. Now, I just have a small analysis of the 3 major ones I discussed about for this course of the study, like Oxford, the type, it's viral vector genetically modified. We need 2 doses. We have the effectiveness there. And we have the cost, which is $4, very cheap, compared to Moderna, which is at $3, and compared to Pfizer, which is $20. And we can see the reason why COVAX went for much of AstraZeneca because of the cheapness. And if you look at the economic aspect of it, by the time you buy one of Pfizer, you can give 5 people of that of AstraZeneca. So you have a higher coverage than looking at this. So, and you look at their storage, regular fridge, even told up to 6 months for Moderna, and Pfizer is at -70. Now, we have challenges with vaccines, and from various studies I have read through, I've laid my hands on, been working on it, we discover that the effectiveness of each vaccine varies according to geographical regions. And that is why we have known that race and ethnicity and geographic ancestry have also been shown to affect vaccine responsiveness. And that is one thing that you see a vaccine being having 70% effectiveness here. You get to another region, you can see like 76 or 75 or 70. So they'll still the range as long as it's higher than 50%, but the rate of effectiveness varies. And another example, even before COVID-19 came into existence, rotavirus vaccine is considerably lower efficacy in Africa as compared to Europe and North America. And that was attributed to host genomics, mutations in the gene, and the immune response and to the receptor or ligand. Now, because of that, based on the work that we're doing, I just talked about 3 basic COVID-19 vaccines, how effective they are, and their merits. And what are the work that we have done so far in order to enhance our local productions of COVID-19 vaccine. When it all started and we discovered that the factors I have talked about here have something to do with how people respond to COVID-19, we want to see something from Africa, how we can go about it. And we are thinking of a way that we will not still be dependent on the Western world whenever such a pandemic occur in the future. So we spun into action to use our in-house pipeline techniques to develop a candidate vaccine for COVID-19, and we're able to work through a lot of isolates from Nigeria, Senegal, Egypt, Ghana, South Africa, Gambia, Republic of Congo, and Wuhan. Because anything we are doing, we still keep that first isolate as a reference isolate and some other copies of isolate. So with a minimum of 60 to 100% of the isolate, we're able to lay our hand on at that point. So now we work on that and we're able to construct a multiple epitope vaccine with a specific adjuvant. We have our B cells, CTL, we have our ATL that we actually screen out in order to know. And the vaccine that we constructed, the candidate then was not allergic but very, very antigenic. And from there, we have some of what is our paperwork that were put outside to show the developmental stage of how we're able to get to where we are now. And luckily for us, our vaccine candidate was also listed on WHO by WHO itself as part of the contribution that we also making. And at that time till today, it's only a candidate from Nigeria and that of Egypt that meet WHO list up to date in terms of the landscape for candidates in preclinical development. And now from there, we move on. We needed to enhance it and we needed to express and scale up. But looking at the nature of our country and the work we are doing, we got across to our collaborator, which is JustScript, that it helped us to synthesize our protein so that we can further the work and enhance what we are doing. And I'm even happy to say that this is still JustScript again that synthesized for Johnson & Johnson in terms of their own vaccine that's currently in use. And as at that time, we chose two vectors, which were E. coli and insects. We intentionally did not want to use insects. We were thinking about E. coli so that the generation time is very shorter for us in the lab. And from there, we're able to get the vaccine as long as possible. But E. coli has its own challenge of endotoxin that after you have expressed your protein and you need to scale up, you need to remove endotoxin. As at that time, we are having challenges with the scaling, folding of the protein. And when endotoxin is being removed, what is left is very, very small. And as at that stage, you have to consider the industrial final scaling up so that at the end of the day, when you have your product will not be expensive. So we needed to shift to insect and see if such would be good. So we have our own customizer insect and how it was expressed. And this is the expression of the insect and how to see in SDS page from the left-hand side, and from my right-hand side, we have the Western blot to show that our protein is there and to see the better condition at which we can have the optimal expression of the protein that we actually need for the work. So once the protein is gotten, the next thing we have to do, we have to initiate an preclinical studies and see if what we have, we're able to scale through the safety. Because if your vaccine candidate is even highly immunogenic and it's not safe, you can go ahead. But even if it is safe, there is a way that you can improve the immunogenicity of the vaccine candidate. So we set up our animal trials, the preclinical study, and for now we try to use mice and monkeys. And the mice, the study took place at Elix Biogen Institute in Ogbomoso, and we needed to travel down to Kenya to talk with them at the Primate Research Institute in Kenya for them to collaborate with us on the project. And in where the monkey trials is going to take place in London, and work is ongoing on the monkey trial at Kenya. Now, before we start the work, we have an ethical approval that we got from the Ministry of Health in Oyo State in order to initiate the animal trial in our lab here. Now, from there, we have the safety results of the vaccine, looking at single week and a booster. I just have few of the results for us. I could not show all because the results is under peer review now for publications purpose. So we have to show that on immunoglobulin, MCV, we have on RBC, we have vaccine on weight, and actually on the weight, we discovered that the animals that got the booster shot, the way they eat in the lab increased more than this single dose. In summary, the safety results came out very good, that the vaccine candidate that we did is very safe. Now we need to move on to the immunogenicity to test a lot of parameters, the interleukins, the IgG, IgM. We've done the simulation and it's very good, but in real life now, we needed to do something like that. And we working on that because it requested a lot of funding, because the work so far done, it's self-funded. by the institute and selected members of the research group. So there's no funding from anybody or any donation from the work. The work done so far is a self-effort, believing that in the country that we have, we can do it, and we have all it takes to do that. So this is just a pipeline of how the candidate vaccine will work. We have our adjuvant because we are working on protein subunit like Novavax. Actually, what they did, the only difference, we have two differences with our prototype and Novavax prototype, is that the type of adjunct that we use, and they added nanoparticles to theirs, which we did not for some certain reasons. Now, these are just team members of the team. These are young chaps that are involved in the work. They are just fresh graduates, because one of our aim is capacity building in whatever we do, in order to expose them to the techniques on how we do. I think here was when representative from Nigeria Biotechnology Center, NABDA, came from Abuja to see what we actually came. We just have some of these pictures were taken during the course of the animal trial, collecting samples from animals for further analysis. Now, we have our future plan as we go in order for local development of vaccines beyond that. We are looking up to grants. We are looking forward to collaboration. Our team is open up for collaboration because we can't do it alone. And like I said, we have some ongoing R&D. I'm happy to tell you that presently now we have 3 vaccine candidates for Lassa fever that we are looking for funding to start the clinical trial, preclinical trial on it. And we have hepatitis E vaccine at hand because we are preparing ahead for the future. We have cholera vaccine. And I'm happy to tell everyone listening to us that we have developed another vaccine that we call pan-coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 vaccine candidate. And that one comprises, as of present of today, all variants in circulation, at least, so that we are looking for what we call a universal vaccine, like we have a universal vaccine in some cases of some diseases. And those are the things that we're actually doing in our research group for seeing how we can build capacity for vaccine development. And like I said, the team is interdisciplinary team and inter-university team. We have a lot of people from different universities coming together from different fields. These are just some selected members of the team. And we have our coordinators that has been helping us to this work, like Professor Oluke, Julius Kola Oluke, the Vice Chancellor of Operations Council University. We have Professor Oyawoyi, who's a lecturer at Oye Ekiti Federal University, Oye Ekiti. And we have Professor Kolawole too, Matthew from University of Ilorin. They have been a source of inspiration for the team members, and we have been learning from them. And we have our Nigerians in diaspora like Dr. Ajayi Polusho and Dr. Ifedayo, that they are molecular biotechnologists and they are clinical person that they have been working together in this team. So on that of immunogenicity, for now, we have talked with CEPI and we have filed the necessary forms, and we're about sending our sample out to this designated lab for them to assay the immunogenicity of our vaccine candidates to see how immunogenic it is. And that is how far we have gone. And for now, like what AstraZeneca has done, we are trying to, the Serum Institute in India was able to mass produce for them. We know that in Nigeria now, we may not have the capacity to mass produce, but currently talk is ongoing with another company in India through Professor Yerima to see eventually if the immunogenicity results come out and we can initiate the mass production with them. And those are the ways to do in order to bypass so that we can be self-dependency on what we have and we can enhance local production of what we have. So that is all what I have to say for today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of the Nigerian Young Academy, I would like to say thank you very much for such a wonderful and educative presentation. We really appreciate you because everything was intact, and then the content, and even in terms of time, we appreciate the quality of information that you've shared with us. And then On behalf of our president, I would like to say thank you very much for coming, for sharing such a wonderful quality information with us. So we would like to ask you one or two questions, but before then, Dr. Ms. Damisa, are you available now? Mrs. Damisa. Mrs. Damisa.
I'm here, I'm here.
Okay, Ma, please, can you share your screen with us now?
Okay.
While we are waiting for, okay, thank you. Okay, we can see. Thank you. Okay, Ma, you can proceed, Ma. We can see your screen.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ma.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can hear you clearly, Ma.
Apologies for the technical hitches that, boy, I think it's all worked out for good that we had Dr. Elijah's presentation telling us first about the vaccine before we start talking of taking the vaccine at all. So I think that has worked out well. Thank you very much for your understanding.
You're welcome, Ma.
Yes, this session I've been asked to talk about effective communication and acceptance of COVID-19 vaccine and what lessons we have learned as an agency. The National Primary Health Care Development Agency, as you all know, has a mandate to deliver vaccine to the populace, not just COVID-19. All vaccination, immunization programs are under the Primary Health Care Development Agency. The agency provides oversight for states and the local governments who are actually implementing levels of government as its policy direction and guidance, technical support to the states and NGOs. In terms of outline, we'll take this through background, what our communication context is in terms of what the data is telling us, what we are doing. In view of time, we'll just give highlights of what we are doing, the lessons we have learned so far, what are the remaining challenges, and what are asked to you, the young Nigeria Young Academy. In terms of background, as we all know, I think Dr. Elijah has spoken, vaccines are very critical to tackle epidemics and to save lives and livelihoods. And safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines have been proven to be game-changing public health to tackle morbidity and mortality due to the pandemic. As of 29th of March, that is 2 days back, 11% of the total eligible population targeted for COVID-19 vaccination in Nigeria have been fully vaccinated. So basically, this document is to highlight the communication efforts in ensuring acceptability and uptake of COVID-19 vaccines in Nigeria. I hope I'm audible. So in terms of background, quickly to say that, as I said, I gave the proportion that we have reached. In terms of state breakdown, this is what it looks like. The number that we've reached, number of eligible vaccines, either with partially or fully. Where we talk of partial vaccination when it's a 2-dose vaccine and somebody has taken just the first dose and is yet to take the second dose. Either it's not due or just reluctance or delay in taking the second dose. Such people are classified as partially vaccinated. Those who are fully vaccinated are those who have taken the second dose for the 2-dose vaccine, and those who have taken a single dose for single dose vaccine like the Johnson & Johnson. So this is the breakdown of the data I just gave earlier. Our target is, our total target is about 112 million Nigerians for 18 years and above for COVID-19 vaccination. As at 29th of March, as I said earlier, The clients have been vaccinated about 19 million, which is 17% of the target population that we have. Those are partially vaccinated. Those are fully vaccinated. We have about 12.3 million, which is just 11% of the target population that are fully vaccinated as at 29th of March this year. That gives a background of our coverage as at 29th of March. Now we narrow down to what the communication context is. Communication interventions are evidence-based. They are driven by data. We have multiple data sources to guide our decision-making and planning, and even the actions that we take, the interventions that we undertake. We conduct monthly telephone polling. We also conduct community polling, and social media polling we do weekly. And then we also do web-based polls from time to time. We triangulate the data from all these multiple sources to guide our decision making. For instance, this is just some of the data that we have in terms of perception. This is from our telephone polling of December last year. Most of the respondents believe that it's not likely for them or those close to them to get infected with the COVID-19 virus, which means the perception is low, risk perception is low, and that again contributes to uptake. That contributes to the uptake of the vaccine, and that's, as I said earlier, we've only been able to cover 11% of the target population. So, and that is after 1 year. Remember, we started vaccination in March last year, and this is March 2022. So we asked, for instance, the following true or false about COVID-19 vaccine, and this is what we got. As we can see here, the only in terms of whether it will protect most people from having serious form of the disease, only 57% said yes. Whether people who get the vaccine cannot be infected with the virus, 48% believe they cannot, while 67% believe that some people have mild effects from the side effects from the vaccine. And that 56% felt that vaccines are more effective than traditional medicine. And 54% believe that all COVID-19 vaccines are equally effective. In terms of brands, we also had to ask if people had preferred brands. The level of penetration of COVID-19 messages, we find that is suboptimal across the 6 geopolitical zones. This is also hard to inform what support we give to the states. This is the type of data that guides us, what support the national gives to the states. For instance, we asked, have you received, seen, or heard any message on COVID-19 vaccine in the last 12 months at the time of this survey? The national outlook is just 34% that said yes. You can see that across the zones, it's roving around 36, 30, 36, the highest, which is the southwest zone, being 39%, with the least southeast zone, 29%. And this also shows in the uptake of the vaccine. As you see later in our performance charts, that the southeast zone, most states in the southeast zone are also performing poorly in terms of uptake. And among those who said yes, so we'd also ask, we wanted to know what message they actually got. And we find that the availability of vaccines was the most frequent message that they got, and they are adhering to guidelines even after taking the vaccine. That is COVID-19 protection precautionary guidelines, about 20% of those. And encourage people to come for vaccination was 19%. They need to take the vaccine was just 15%. And some can't even recall what the content of the message they had was, and that was about 11%. The data also showed us that radio and the television are the most preferred source of information for COVID-19 vaccine. Over the years, radio had been a traditional main source of information for our people. But with COVID-19, it's slightly different. We find that the television has been leading in terms of source of information for COVID-19 vaccine. And this also informs why in spite of the fact that the television is very expensive, as we all know, airtime is very expensive, we had to also disseminate our messages through TV, because this is what the data is telling. As I said earlier, we also conduct weekly social media polls, and we also wanted to find out why most of those who took the first dose are not coming back for the second dose. The partially vaccinated, remember the first chart I showed at the beginning, 70% of the target population are partially vaccinated, which means we have dropouts, either people that are due and not coming back or have not come back, in spite of the fact that they would have been told at the vaccination point, their vaccination cards has the date for the second dose. They have not returned. So we also wanted to know, we had to ask this question, and the poll we conducted most recently, about a week ago, gave us this information that the fear of adverse, that the fear of side effects from the vaccine was a major reason why most of the dropouts that we have between the first and second dose. Because that was the major reason, and that's why you notice that we had to immediately roll out the single dose vaccine, in spite of the fact that we have a shelf life, a longer shelf life with the single dose by Johnson & Johnson. We have some that are expiring 2023, as we speak, at 2024. So, but we had to roll out because of this type of data that we got. If you take it for just one single dose vaccine, you're not likely to, if you have fear of injections, which we also find is prominent among our people, then you don't need to come back for a second dose. Again, although we also encourage booster dose, but we are targeting, let's first get the people fully vaccinated. So following the results, of course, as I said, we had to introduce the vaccine, and then we also had to roll out more information materials, flyers, both e-flyers, flyers at the point of vaccination, and also to keep reminding the vaccinator, that they need to inform the client of what to expect. Lack of information also contributes to the anxiety over side effects, because we find that our vaccinators are not actually, most of them are not telling the clients what to expect after vaccination. As an effort to reach the youth, recall that the youths form the bulk of our population as a country. The 18 years and above, youths form the bulk of that population. So with deliberate effort to reach out to the youths, we've also reached out to student union bodies, the National Association of Nigerian Students. They are partnering with us to ensure campus vaccination in all the campuses. And for us, we piloted in Kwara State University and Kwara State College of Education, find out in terms of finding out what is their preferred source of information for them. Majority of respondents are preferred in social media, of course, which is expected. It's not surprising among the youths who are always on Facebook, or Twitter, or Instagram. This shows that online engagement needs to be done to reach the youths. And that is where you notice that all our social media handles, and including those of our partner agencies, are being used to disseminate COVID-19 messages in various forms, in terms of infographics, in terms of e-flyers, videos, and audios. That's the context in which what highlights of what the data tells us. But what exactly are we doing? As communication approach is based on 4 main prongs: targeted advocacy, community engagement, media engagement, and evidence generation, as I've just shown. In terms of targeted advocacy, this cross-cutting advocacy at both national and subnational levels to reach stakeholders from the various sectors of the society, political leaders, religious, traditional leaders who are, of course, gatekeepers. They have various communities, professional groups, youth groups, as I said earlier, reach out to students, reach out to the youth organizations. And that's one of the reasons where we're excited when we got your invitation for this webinar. The agency felt that this is the way it should go. We want to support every initiative, especially by youth, to address issues of COVID-19 vaccine acceptance. Community engagements, the various community structures at the subnational levels, especially, being targeted through the states and the local governments. We have, in every state, we have an officer who directly oversees this community engagement efforts, who is called the State Health Education Officer at the State Primary Healthcare Agency. While at the local government departments of health, you also have the local government health education officer. These officers are primarily, their duty, day-to-day duty, even beyond COVID-19, is to ensure that they engage the communities, that take social mobilization activities for buy-in and acceptance of public health programs like the COVID-19 vaccination. We've made deliberate efforts to saturate the media space with COVID-19 messages, both print and electronic media and the social media, with messages and jingles. We've actually produced a theme song, a COVID-19 theme song, which is running on national radio and television, including state radio stations. In terms of evidence generation, where, as I said earlier, I just showed some of the data, and actually our interventions are evidence-driven. So this, what we get from our pools helps us to refine our messages and our plans. To ensure that the communication component of COVID-19 is not bogged down by bureaucracy, a strong and responsive team was set up immediately to drive the communication components of the COVID-19 vaccination response. And this we call the Crisis Communication Center, that is CRIC, COVID-19 Crisis Communication Center. It is designed to strengthen existing social mobilization structures, which we have already existing at state and LGA levels. It's not meant to be a parallel body. At the national level, we have a dedicated team from government and partners who focus on the communication component of the response, of the vaccination response, and they work daily from the NPA-CDA headquarters. This team is led by a program manager and supported with 2 deputy program managers. And all states were required to have their own CRIC team who interface with the national team on daily basis. As we speak, a meeting is going on, a virtual meeting between the national team and the states.
2 minutes.
Oh.
2 minutes more, ma.
Oh, hello?
Okay, you can pause round up, ma.
Okay. Well, okay, let me just quickly, again, these are things we do. This is what the social media reach in the last 30 days. Our strategic approach, as I said, these are some of, let me just try some of the visuals, the pictures showing the engagements I've mentioned earlier, celebrity engagement, the targeted advocacy. We are troubleshooting to states where we have challenge. The Southeast particularly, and the northern states that are performing below expectation, as you see from, this is our performance chart. This is what we share with the states daily. And this is a triggered reaction from state governors to ensure that their team, they are on board. This is evidence of states engaging the media. These are live programs on various radio stations and TV stations in the states. This, I've just given this data of what our coverage is, 70%. Then what are the lessons learned? For us, we conducted quickly a SWOT analysis of what we are doing. And this we looked at our strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities and threats. We look at the weaknesses and the threats, and we have used that, currently using that to refine what we are doing. Again, we still have challenges. So the persistent vaccine hesitancy is a challenge that we are still confronted with, and which we are trying to address daily. A high cost of media space is also one of the challenges that we have. 60 seconds on TV is over ₦1 million, for instance. And we need to, as you have seen, our data shows that TV is the preferred source. So we need to do that, and it's costing a huge cost for. Then another challenge, the third challenge we have is the weak coordination structure at the subnational level. This we have tried to get over by having daily interface with the states. What I ask for you, young academy, is to be role model, get vaccinated, not just getting vaccinated, but publicize your vaccination status. Let people within your sphere of influence know that you are vaccinated and you believe in COVID-19 vaccine. Because you are professionals, it's important because people will trust you. You have some level of trust among your family members, your friends, and the society. It will also urge you to leverage on your professional networks and connection to debunk myths and misconceptions and promote COVID-19 vaccine confidence. And also, because you are an academy, to conceptualize and implement research efforts that will provide us with further insights in the social and behavioral context to COVID-19 acceptance and uptake in Nigeria. Once again, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. Over.
Thank you very much, Ma. We really appreciate your presentation. It's very loaded with many scientific facts and then information. On behalf of the Nigerian Young Academy, I would like to say thank you very much for such a wonderful discussion with us. Thank you very much, Ma. So the next thing now is question and answer. Ma, we are going to start with you, or maybe, okay, let me start with Dr. Elijah Oladipo. Dr. Oladipo.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, thank you. Please, let me start with you. So, the first question now is that on the issue of non-locally made vaccine, what advice do you have for the federal government, state governments, and then Nigerian vice chancellors? Is there any information you have for them on the issue of non-locally made vaccines?
Well, I can talk from my own experience, which I have said on every platform. I said that we should look at we should be someone that look at what others have done. Others that have produced vaccine, the vaccine they produce is not done by their government. The government gave those individuals and institutions enabling environment, and they gave support. So their government bought those things in advance. I was so surprised when COVID-19 was on, when the CBN said that, yeah, they wanted to support COVID-19 vaccine development, but they are not supporting the preclinical phase. It's the clinical phase they want to support. I marveled and laughed that they didn't know what it means to go through a clinical stage with self-funding. So our government should wake up to their call, and vice chancellors of universities should come together, pull the teams of their expertise, the expertise they have in various units in the university. Let them come together. We can have 4 or 5 universities coming together for a singular project. Then it's going to go a long way. rather than everybody staying there. I didn't say anybody to give us money, because what we are doing is not for money's sake. But if what we are doing have been fully supported, seeing 1 or 2 groups in the Nigerian system that is doing this, would have gone far. And that will have helped us to produce this thing locally. And maybe that would have enhanced, would have built more confidence in our people that this thing is produced by our scientists. So nobody is there to destroy our life.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Really appreciate your answer for that. Let's go to the second question. And the second question says that what advice do you have for the Nigerians on vaccination against COVID-19?
Well, the advice I will give Nigerians is that COVID-19 is real and they need to get vaccinated. I have gotten my first and my second shot since, and I discovered that getting it right at the right time is the best. There are some things that people don't understand. There is difference between side effects and reactions, adverse reaction and adverse side effects. The reason why I'm saying this is that you cannot be expected, me as a scientist, that I take a shot of vaccine and I will not react to what I've taken. If I didn't react to it, it has not worked. I said we should ask our mother when they have small children and they take them for vaccination, they go for immunization in hospital, they know how children react. So if we adults also take those vaccines, there is a way that our system will react to the strange thing that is coming up. So it is necessary for us to see all those things to show that we are about vaccination is the best way to prevent this disease. So I will encourage all Nigerians to go for their vaccine. Those who have taken their first shot and yet to take their second shot, they need to go so that the level of effectiveness of what they have taken will be retained and increased.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's go to the third question. Can you please tell us more about the effectiveness of Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines?
Yeah, I think for now, from what I have presented, we have various of effectiveness that we have seen, like Johnson & Johnson have 66.3%, Moderna 76%, or thereabout. So their effectiveness varies because the mode at which they have been designed, one is a recombinant DNA, one is vector-based, one is a messenger RNA. So those ones have actually affected their effectiveness. So an effectiveness in holistic approach is dependent on the geographical location where the study is being carried out. The only challenge I have with us in effectiveness in Nigeria is that, yes, WHO has said that after all of us have taken the vaccine, who is taking our blood sample? Who is looking at the level of neutralizing antibodies? That it's almost a year now that we have done this. I'm still waiting to see a data set, though me from my own personal lab, we've initiated a study to see people that have taken Pfizer, to see people that have taken Moderna, to see people that have taken AstraZeneca. How are they responding? What's the total neutralizing antibodies they are producing within the first and second dose, after second dose, to actually know when is this thing winning out from our system before they start recommending third shot and fourth shot for us. So we still have a lot to go in order to actually be sure about the efficacy and effectiveness of this vaccine in our own local population, not dependent too much on the population from somewhere else.
Thank you very much, sir. There is another question from someone, and that is in person of Mr. Awa Aliyu Ahmed. Now, traditionally, we know that vaccine takes time for production, but COVID-19, within a short period of time, we could see a lot of vaccines out there, and that really makes people scared. But is there anything you can do to convince us that it's possible to indeed produce COVID-19 vaccine within that short period of time?
Yes, I smile because it's one of the things we went through, even in Nigeria here. Yeah, what happened for COVID-19 was that we have what we call adaptation. You know, the messenger RNA techniques have been existent before. So what happened that time is just that they just adapted that method to what is ongoing, because there is an urgent need for a solution that time. So, and because we have advancement in technology, advancement in tools that we are using now, so it's cutting short of things. Like I either said during our own time, how is it possible for us in Nigeria, in my environment, to develop a vaccine candidate? So when eventually, when we came out in the first instance, when they heard about us, that Federal Ministry of Health, the Ministerial Expert Committee of Federal Ministry of Health, requested us a presentation. They thought that we were dealing with live virus, but by the time we explained to them the latest techniques we were using, they also believed that what we are doing is possible. So the time is not the problem, but the beauty about it is that the technology have been in existence, but we just adapt it to what is existing. And because research is ongoing before on this virus, so it made it more easier for us to have the vaccine within a short period of time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And before we go, Dr. Samson Olaniyi, he was of the opinion that why is Pfizer the most costly?
Yeah. You see, this is economics. Like I said, when we were doing our own research, I explained how we had problem with E. coli, and we now considered what will be the resultant effect. And this is a company that you can't rule this out. This is a company that some people have invested in it. That is one. Then what determines the price of a good is the raw material. What are the raw materials they have put into it? So they have to calculate that. The price of a good some of the time is not dependent on how good the good is. It's dependent on what moves into the production. So before even coming out with the selling price, there is a method to calculate that. There are a lot of things that have been put in place. So it could have been as a result of the methodology and the raw materials they have used before getting to that. So I cannot talk on Visa, particularly because I'm not a team member from Visa. So, but for now,
can we say that vaccine is most effective?
No. It's not the most effective. Like I said, that effectiveness of a vaccine is localized. If you look at some metadata analysis, you discover that in Germany it could be 76%. In another Asia country, it could be like 70%. So that doesn't mean. And the only beauty I just know about this vaccine is that they can be mismatched. You can take one for your second shot and take the other for the first shot and take the other for the second shot. So it makes it more effective than even taking one for the first shot and the other from the data, the clinical data set available that has been peer reviewed. So now the price does not indicate that it's the most effective in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Before we go, please, we would like to say thank you very much once again for such a wonderful discussion and then presentation and question and answer. Thank you very much. Please, we'll get back to you very soon. Please stay tuned. We still have some questions for you. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now, back to Mrs. Damisa. We would like to ask you one or two questions, ma'am. I don't know, maybe we can proceed, Ms. Damisa.
Yes, please. Yes, if you can hear me, please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for that. The first question I would like to ask you now is that, is there any report on adverse effects and then post-COVID-19 symptoms? Is there any adverse effects that you've heard?
Oh, thank you very much. The data we collect on a daily basis from the operational level, that is right from the vaccination post through the local government to the national database. We have a national database. We call it the EMIT platform, where right from the vaccination site, the data is uploaded into the platform. We also have provision for collecting information on AEFI. So our daily, what we call our daily call-in data, which we share with all our stakeholders in the COVID-19 vaccination response, has that information by state, by LGA. So when there's an adverse effect, we also have a committee At each in each state there is a committee. At the national level, there's an AEFI committee that looks at this data where there are serious, very serious cases that need to be followed up.
Okay, thank you.
To date, right from March last year today, we've not had any fatality associated with the COVID-19 vaccine. We have classification to serious and non-serious AFI cases.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much for that wonderful answer. We can proceed to the second question now, which says that how is your agency being able to update citizens with new findings on the effectiveness of vaccines? There has been a lot of research on this vaccine. I mean, I'm talking about vaccination and even production of vaccines. Is there anything your agency is doing to really update the citizens?
As Dr. Elijah said, this is a novel vaccine. So what we do, once we get new insights into the vaccines and the vaccination process and guidelines, we share with the public because we have weekly press conferences to give progress report to the citizen on how far we have gone with COVID-19 vaccination. And at this press conference, we have WHO represented, the country representative of WHO joins us at such weekly press conference, and the UNICEF country representative. So where there are new insights, new findings that the public needs to know, they are passed through such press conferences.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark.
Citizens regularly on the progress we are making.
Now we can proceed to the third question, which is that is there any information on the COVID-19 vaccine for people below the age of 18 years, even for the pregnant women? Is there any information on their own vaccines?
For us in Nigeria, our target age is 18 years and above for now.
Okay.
It's 18 years and above. We
but does that mean that
haven't got
years cannot...
evidence. Hello?
Yes, we are with you. We are with you.
Okay. So we haven't got any evidence for us to change that for now. The studies that have been done so far in Nigeria, we are just like Dr. Elijah said, it has to be contextualized to the environment. We don't have data on what effect the vaccines will have on our own below 18 years. Yes, there are other countries vaccinating as low as 5 years, but for us, for now, it's 18 years and above. Of course, it's a very flexible program. If the country gets strong evidence that will require reducing the target age, that will come at the appropriate time. But for now, 18 years and above.
But according to a recent post by your agency on Facebook, we learned that the top 5 performing states on the COVID-19 mass vaccination campaign in Nigeria, they are Nasarawa, Jigawa, Kano, Ogun, and FCT. Is there any advice you have for the audience on how to improve the performance of other states?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, what we do, when we saw that especially Nasarawa and Jigawa were really top flyers, when we saw the consistent high performance of these states, while other states were really very low, we had to take a deep dive. We had to find out what exactly is Nasarawa doing differently? What exactly is Jigawa doing differently? And that helped us to guide from other states, because we have regular meetings with states, meeting with the executive directors of the primary care agencies and the honorable commissioners for health. So at such meetings, we share these findings with them, and also their colleagues from these states also share their experiences. And one thing we find that's common to both states, especially Nasarawa and Jigawa, as I said, who are the topmost flyers, is the high-level commitment of the state chief executive, that is the governor. Where a governor has a dashboard, for instance, the Jigawa governor has a dashboard on daily basis in his office. He's looking at the performance because the data is real time. He's seen an LJ that is not performing well, and he's calling the LGA chairman to order to explain why his LGA is the uptake is so low. The traditional leaders are also involved. Traditional leaders have given directives in the Jigawa, for instance, that all market associations should ensure that people are vaccinated, those who come to the market, because we also have market vaccination, to ensure that anybody that comes into the market is vaccinated. And he also has this reward system. At the end of the week, the best performing LGA has a reward. That is, the LGA chairman gets a reward. The best performing team, vaccination team, gets a reward. All these are motivational interventions that has made these two states high flyers. And this we recommend to other states. They have also set up, these two states have the joint task force, a task force made up of government and security agencies to ensure that unwholesome practices around the COVID-19 vaccine are checked. So these are some of the things that are working for these states and which we have continued to recommend to other states. Political commitment is very high. Community mobilization, jingles, messages in the local dialects, not the general language of the state, but going deep, like Nasarawa that has multiple dialects, going deep into the local dialects, ensuring that materials are actually produced in the local dialects of the people, undertaking motorized campaigns in the communities to ensure that the people actually receive the appropriate messages and they are encouraged to get vaccinated. And the teams, the supply side now, the workers are motivated. These are
thank you very much.
For these two
Thank you very much,
states.
Please, I would like to call on Dr. Uma. Dr. Uma. Dr. Anna Zuma. You have the floor. You can. Dr. Uma, you have the floor, please. You can ask your question now. Dr. Anas Uma.
We have to unmute him.
You have the floor. Feel free to ask a question.
Hello.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry,
Dr. Anas
if
Uma.
Dr. Uma is having, can I just talk about pregnant women?
Please, you can proceed.
I thought.
Okay, yes, you can proceed because there's another question.
What about pregnant women?
Yes.
Pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers are eligible to take the COVID-19 vaccine. We've said that over and over again. We've encouraged our health workers and the vaccinators to pass this message on to clients. Pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers are eligible to take the COVID-19 vaccine. It's safe for them. We've not had any incident with any case of a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding mother having taken the vaccine and having issues, including our staff. We have pregnant women among us. They took the vaccine right from the first phase in March last year. And some of a lot of them are giving birth to bouncing babies, very healthy babies. We have not had any issue. So the COVID-19 vaccine is safe for pregnant women and lactating mothers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thanks for the information. I think now I can call on Dr. Umas. Anas Uma, please, you have the floor.
I think he's still muted, so he has to unmute himself. Now you can call on Mariam.
Oh, unmute yourself.
Mariam Aminu.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Anas.
Okay, the question I want to ask.
Who are you directing the question to? Mrs. Damisa or Dr. Oladipo? Okay.
Okay, first and foremost, I appreciate you for this. From my locality here, vaccines, not only COVID-19, it's not all that they are thinking that vaccines have effects on people. So if these are, if the people are called to order that taking vaccines has no problem, I think they have more courage to take vaccines whenever there's an outbreak.
What is your area, sir? What area?
My area is.
What? Say it again, your area.
Sorry.
Can he put his question on the chat so that we can?
I'm a medical microbiologist. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
your
network.
network. Can you put
Your
this
network.
question on the chat box?
Okay, let me put it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Emma, just let us know about the area you're referring to. Now, next
Yes.
thing is to call on Miriam Aminu. Miriam Aminu.
Yes, good afternoon, all.
Thank you very much. You can proceed.
I want to thank the presenters, Dr. Elijah and my sister Eunice for the wonderful presentation. As a virologist, and I have been infected and I've taken the vaccines. And the second time I was infected because I was vaccinated, it was mild for me. It shows that the vaccine, they work. I'm a living example because I was infected twice. The second time, because I was vaccinated, complete vaccination, it was very, very mild. So I want to ask, from the presentation of Dr. Elijah, they've done so well in this vaccine production. What is the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency? What are they doing and others, being that they are close to the government, to support this local vaccine production? Because we are supposed to support local content. We need a local vaccine. Please, I want the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and other agencies to support this, our local vaccine development. What is the effort being made by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency in this regard? That is my question.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. So you can unmute now. So Ms. Damisa and then Dr. Ladipo, would you like to ask the question? Would you like to answer the question?
Yeah, I think I'll let Dr. Ladipo take the first shot. He will tell us the yes.
Well, I want to really say, like what I was talking the other time, that the stage after the CBN wanted to sponsor that time, we were not there. They were trying to sponsor clinical while excluding preclinical, and up to now, there is no call for that again anymore. And what I've known, and I'm happy to tell you that one of the grand patrons of this NYA Webinar Series, in person of Professor Tomori, knows about our team. We've had meeting with him several times. And I want to be sure that the Minister for State of Health, Senator Mamura, knows about our team. The Minister for Health knows about our team. Quite a number of some ministers know about our team. But you know, the government has its own policies. We are not government agency, so I can't talk much. But what I just believe in is that either way, they give the support or not, we fire on. Because we are interested in making our contribution to the society. We have seen COVID-19, but we don't know what is coming in the future. But we are saying that we don't want to be dependent on the Western world. Like I did say, yes, there will start a messenger RNA vaccine hub in Nigeria, fine. But the question I keep asking, where are the raw materials coming from? Is the raw materials, is it from this country? Or is this something we are still dependent on? And unless we look inward and solve the problem with our local resources, we are not there yet. It's not that their support is not good for us, it's good. But for now, we have not received any support from anybody. And the best anyone can do is to tweet about us or say we are doing good, we are doing great. But we are not focusing on all those things. We keep focusing until we get there. So the journey might be slow, may not be as fast as other because of funding, but definitely we are very sure we're going to be there.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Mrs. Damisa, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, please. Let me just because my agency was mentioned specifically. Thank you, my sister Miriam, for your kind words. As we all know, the NPHCDA, National Primary Health Development Agency, is a parastatal of the Federal Ministry of Health. In terms of vaccine production efforts in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Health has a team, has a dedicated team that is working on that, and we know that they have gone as far in the efforts to produce vaccines locally. So it's not one of vaccine production. It's not one of the mandates of the National Primary Care Development Agency. Every agency is set up with specific mandates. So my idea, we would is produce and we utilize. So we are not the production arm for vaccine. So
Okay.
thank you very much. We can assure you, however,
okay, thank you.
that the government is very serious now about the vaccine production. I think
Okay.
Dr.
Thank you.
Elijah has
Please.
just mentioned the interest of the minister and the Minister of State. Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Damisa, please, before we go, there is a background. Could you please tell us more about that? Mrs. Damisa.
What do you say I should tell you what?
There is one information at your background that has to do with Nigerian vaccine confidence roundtable discussion.
Sorry.
What can you tell us more about that?
Sorry. It's a webinar I had last. I used it as sorry. It's a webinar we had last.
For last year.
No. Just last month.
When is okay for
March,
last
right?
month?
Early this
yes,
month.
we are
early
okay.
Month, yes. It was a webinar we had. Yes, we keep discussing roundtable discussions. We keep interfacing with various stakeholders to continue to get better insights in how we can improve what we are doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma.
Yes.
Next thing is to call on Saibu Bello. Dr. Saibu Bello, you have the floor.
Thank you. Just to interrogate and make some explanation and then some questions. On the vaccine, now, there's usually a challenging issue to use public money to support private entities. It is possible to do that, but you need a policy change. It's the same reason we are not using TED fund money for private universities. So to get private support for public support for public entity, private entity is a no-go for Nigeria for now. Secondly, you are starting a vaccine research with 1 or 2 candidates. The normal success rate is 1% for vaccine. It's poorer than therapeutics. Now, if you bring this to me to recommend, I'll not recommend it for support because it's just one candidate. It's going to fail. Most likely, it may succeed. But why you need up to 10 candidates, for example, to put forward is that anytime there's a failure, the one going forward carry the money and the risk with it. So that at the end of the day, if you end up having one, all the expenditure will be borne by that one and you can distribute it. But you have only 1 or 2 candidates. So it's a very preliminary research. So you need to do more than that if we are even going to get a grant. The second one is, it also becomes very challenging to do a clinical trial, given that we have effective vaccines now. It will be ethically very difficult. You have effective vaccine around, you have Moderna, you have Pfizer. Now, the ethical challenge is that why will I give this new vaccine on a trial that may not succeed to a patient that has come for vaccination instead of Moderna? That's a difficult thing. The way you solve that thing is to use surrogate endpoints, i.e., if we found out that this titer of certain antibody, neutralizing antibody, this level of T cell action is equal to protection, then it is what you'll be looking for in your study. But these are very big challenges for vaccine. What this underscores is that we need to be moving very fast, but it's a good effort that we are doing in Nigeria. Now to Dr. Damisa, I was a bit taken aback by the question on the age of vaccination. And you inferred that we didn't have local data. And I said, but we didn't use local data for the 18 and above. We didn't use local data for the even efficacy of the vaccine. We didn't use local data for anything we are doing now. So it doesn't cut that we are not using local, available data worldwide to go to 5 years and above. Because everything we have done to date was based on studies not in Nigeria. They were based on studies abroad. So if we will take those studies and use them, then it's time we start looking at going below so that at least once WHO has accepted it, that it is okay to go to that, and we should be doing that now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to say...
I think I have a comment.
Okay, Dr. Ladipo, you have the floor.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, Prof. Chai Bello, for that. When I came in for presentation, I need to cut a lot of things off. so that I won't bug out. Actually, we didn't start with one candidate. We constructed 6 candidates. So it's from the 6 candidates, we screened down to 2. But due to funding, we can only concentrate on 1 for now. So that is how we've been able to get to that stage. And in terms of the clinical trial, honestly, you are very correct. There is nothing sure how clinical trial will be done. But as we are here, it's by ourselves that the CRO company contacted us and they are ready to give a helping hand based on our terms and conditions. And they are the CRO company again that did for Johnson & Johnson in US. So we are in talk with them to see how far we can go. And like the other surrogate endpoint that we'll talk about is a very good thing that we're going to work about on. Like it's part of the things we are working alongside with CEPI, like I said during the course of my presentation. So I really appreciate your beautiful contribution, and we take that in consideration, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Dr. Isaac?
Thank you very much.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Sorry,
Okay,
sorry. Let me just quickly say, sir, to assure you that the idea of reducing the age, younger age, is not foreclosed for the country. You know, these are policy issues. I agree that we all started without any study in country. Of course, that at the beginning last year, it was to save life, to quickly, rapidly save life, because people were dying from the pandemic. So moving forward, I think we have stabilized both nationally and globally in terms of now I think there are a lot of studies going on in country. And the country has not foreclosed reducing the age. But for now, this is the policy. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Ma. At this stage, I would like to invite the webinar committee chairman for vote of thanks. Dr. Mutala, please, you can come forward. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Isaac. I think if we have to continue, I think we can spend another hour discussing this, because I think it's getting even more interesting right now, exactly, which is always a good sign of a very, very interesting webinar. And that is because of the caliber of the speakers we have in person of Ms. Eunice Damisa and Dr. Elijah Oladipo. We'd like to thank you very, very much for honoring our invitation. And we hope that in the future, if we invite you again to have this discussion, you are going to honor our invitation. Thank you very much, Ms. Eunice and Dr. Elijah. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank the Academy for allowing us to organize this webinar. And today participants are really, really very, very vibrant. We see that there are still questions that are unanswered and there are raised hands. We can assure you that if you drop your questions, we are going to send to the speakers and request them to answer for you, which we can send to your email. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank the participants of today, which particularly the ones that participated in asking questions and making contributions, and those that are listeners. It's very, very interesting to always have participants that are actually willing to participate in the discussions that we are having. I would like to pass the information that for those of you that attended our 2 other webinars, we started this webinar in February. January, we had one in January, then we had another one in February. So it's a monthly thing as part of the Africa Rapid Grant that the Academy has secured. We are going to conduct a series of webinars on COVID-19 related topics. And this is the 3rd one. So that means that we have 5 more to go. But I need to mention that in our April webinar is going to be in French. So we are going to collaborate with our Senegalese, Cameroonian, and Beninese Nigerian young academy, who will be helping us to organize the webinar in French. So those of us who are multilingual will still send you the link. If you can speak French, you can join. If you have friends in these countries, you can always send them so that we can have a regional discussion instead of just having it to be a localized national discussion. It's always very difficult for Nigeria because we are all bordering French-speaking countries, so it's not easy for us to easily collaborate with them. But we hope that you send it to your friends that are in these countries. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Isaac. Thank you for moderating the session. We hope that
it's my pleasure, sir.
Yeah, okay. So with this, I would like to thank everyone. Please, those of us who have unanswered questions, we rest assured that we are going to thank the participants, thank the Academy, and we thank the Rapid Africa Grant, COVID-19 Grant, for sponsoring this webinar. Thank you very, very much, and see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Dr.
you
Ladipo, thank you very much. Really appreciate you.
for your interest in
Thank you.
COVID-19 vaccination. Right.
Thank you, Ma, for your presentation.
Right. Thank you,
So,
Dr.
Mrs.
Elijah.
Damisa, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye.